Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and in today's video I am going to be talking about my queer year. I'm going to be talking about the things I have learned in a year of fully expressing my sexuality and just fully accepting it and not suppressing it any longer. June 2019, I came out with a video talking about my experience dating girls and being gay in the past. That was a very important video. I think it was probably the most important video I've ever made, and I'm super proud of it. But when I go back and watch it now, I see essentially a straight girl who is trying to be straight, who's trying to appear straight and has been trying to appear straight for so many years that she doesn't even know how to be herself anymore. And this past year, I have been blessed with the opportunity to fully express myself as a queer woman. And I have learned so much, and I just want to share with you guys, if you're not familiar with the LGBTQIA+ community, the things that queer people have to endure still today in 2020. I think this is very relevant with everything going on with the Black Lives Matter movement. LGBT people did not gain they would not have gained rights without Black protesting and Black activism. We owe everything to Black people and their courage to stand up for yet another group of marginalized people and for Black queer people. I just think this is all super relevant, and we get 1 month to fully celebrate ourselves and be proud and stand up and say, yes, I'm a part of this community. This is what we're all about, and we need to stop hating. So I'm going to use my platform, my voice, and to tell you guys the reality of what it's like to be in the gay community in 2020 America. The first thing I learned, freshly queer and off to college, broken up with my boyfriend. It is hard being gay. This is the exact reason why I suppressed my identity for probably 4 years. High school's hard, especially if you're a girl, because girls just are horrible to each other in high school. They're so insecure, they take out all this petty drama, and it's so toxic. And to add on top of that, being even more different, even more out there, and not fitting the cookie cutter what you should look like in high school, it terrified me. And I just didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be a spectacle, and for that reason I suffered for 4 years not being who I truly was. And this year I have had to learn a lot very fast. Next thing I learned, you do not owe anybody the explanation or label of your sexuality. In my last video about a year ago, I said, well, I don't really know what I am. I think I'm queer, I think I'm bi, I'm not sure. And I still don't know the answer to that question. I still don't. And I don't need to know the answer. And frankly, nobody else does. You can fully explore who you are without saying, I'm this or that. The third thing, telling people is hard and scary. Now, luckily, I had come out to my parents already when I was 13, and they already knew, my siblings already knew, and most of my friends knew, so it wasn't too bad. But in this past year, I have had the opportunity to come out to a lot more of my family, like extended family, my cousins, my great aunt, my grandparents. So it's just reopened all this anxiety and fear of rejection. And I'm very lucky and blessed with family that accepts me and supports me, and I have not had bad experiences thus far, and I'm very lucky for that. Next thing I learned is that I struggle having relationships with heterosexual men, and whether it's my father, my brother, friends, past boyfriends, I struggle. I do not trust easily. I feel very defensive. and I have this constant like feeling that they're trying to suppress me or be superior to me, and I just reject it. I just want to prove them wrong and show them that I'm more powerful than them, and I really struggle with that as a woman. And that is something that I've learned since coming to this realization of who I am. And I think that's frankly why I love women and choose to be with women, is because there's a lack of trust for men. And if I can't trust them, how could I ever love them or want to be with them? I just need to deal with those issues, but in that I have found a beautiful part of myself that loves women, and I'm happy with that. Another thing I've learned, I joined a sorority when I went to college. I made a video about it, and I enjoy it very much. I love the social aspect and making new friends, and I have to say my sorority is so accepting, and I think it's one of the few that I felt truly accepted at for being myself, and I've never felt judged by them. However, Greek life in general, I have found, is very geared towards heterosexual relationships. I mean, it makes sense because sororities, they party with fraternities, or your only social interaction is with heterosexual men and the same group of girls who are all heterosexual. It's kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't want to like go on date parties with them. I don't want to do this crush cocktail. I don't want to do all this with men, because I know that I have issues with men and I don't enjoy myself. I am anxious. It's a part of Greek life that I think desperately needs to change. And I understand that there's rules and it's like a tradition and it's just how things are, but a lot of times I just haven't felt like I had a place in the social aspect. Like, I love the philanthropy, I love helping Service for Sight and that aspect of my sorority. I love hanging out with my sisters, but it's just the social parties and everything of that sort that it's just like, I just don't want to keep interacting with heterosexual men. And it's partly my own issues, but partly just somewhere that LGBT people have never been, and it shows. The next thing that I learned is that being a gay woman is very different from being a gay man, and there are intersects in those two things. Being a gay man is very tough. I would say much harder than being a gay woman, because society sexualizes gay women, lesbian culture, and it's just kind of entertaining, it's sexual, and it's welcomed to heterosexual men. Whereas gay men, they just see it as wrong and unnatural. So I would say gay women are held to a different standard than gay men. Those are kind of some differences that I've noticed, but the intersect between those two groups of people is that sexuality is often focused on men. So when we talk about bisexual people is somebody of one gender can be with men and women, but bisexual women are often seen as experimenting, or they're in a phase when they gravitate towards women, and bisexual men are just seen as gay men who can't fully like commit to being gay, or they're just not actually into women. It's just for whatever reason they're saying they're bisexual. And both of these harmful narratives say that sexuality is only centered around men. It just shows even more how we are structured around men. Next thing, you have to constantly educate people if you want to progress. And yes, it's hard work. Yes, it's annoying. And it can be very hurtful at times to say, you know what you said really offended me. But if you don't have those tough conversations, we're never gonna move forward, because the people who are ignorant and they don't understand are the ones holding us back. And you have to tell people in your life, your friends, your family, the people you go to school with, you have to be the one to have those conversations with people. And I have had a lot of conversations with my parents, my old roommate, friends, my siblings. It's a never-ending conversation that you have to educate people, because ignorance is frankly very dangerous. We have seen recently that education is key on every social justice topic. The Black Lives Matter movement, most people did not even realize the magnitude of discrimination and racism and brutality used against Black people in America until they were educated on it. And people are finally starting to realize what white privilege is, and that is through education. And so we have to keep doing it if we want to move forward. Every time I go in public and I'm openly gay, in my mind, I'm opening myself up to be harassed, discriminated against, physically harmed, catcalled, literally just any unwanted attention. I'm opening myself up to that just because I want to hold my girlfriend's hand or kiss her. And that outrages me, honestly, because when I had a boyfriend, I never worried about any of that stuff, and I was completely comfortable doing whatever I wanted. Now, I am scared every single time I go into public. And sometimes I have to hide who I am because I feel threatened by, let's be honest, mostly white men. And this sucks, but this was one of the hardest lessons I've learned being gay this year in 2020 America. Hi guys, so I just wanted to interject real quick. I filmed this video about a month ago, like really beginning of June, and this month I've really taken the time to learn more about the history of like Stonewall and LGBT rights. And while I'm totally valid in saying that every time I go in public with my girlfriend I feel so like scared and anxious and I open myself up to like harassment and discrimination, I want to just say how I'm still very privileged, because if I was Black or if I was not cisgendered, then I would have it a lot worse. And frankly, even if I was just straight cisgendered and I was Black, I would still be subjected to that horrible mistreatment every single day. I can't just hide it. And I just want to really touch on this point because at the end of the day, I'm able to just kind of retreat back into this life of, oh, I'm white and I'm cisgender and I don't have to deal with discrimination on the basis of my skin color. Whenever I filmed this, I didn't realize the extent to which Black, queer, and trans people experience discrimination in this country, and how they literally, their life expectancy is like half or a third of what white cisgender people is. And there's a serious problem in this country, and we need to stand up for these people who so valiantly stood up for us in Stonewall. And today's actually the anniversary of Stonewall, so I want to just reiterate that there would be no LGBT community without Black trans women and Black queer people and people of color in the community. And me as a white cisgender woman, I'm so thankful to those people, and I think it's my duty now to educate people on the struggles and sacrifices. Another thing I learned is that the LGBTQIA+ community flourishes when we support one another. Along with a lot of anxiety and fear that I felt this year and discrimination, I have also felt so much support from other people in my community and people outside of my community. But this community is so strong and is so full of love and is so focused on progress, and it's so amazing to be a part of this community. Like, frankly, I think that people are so against this community. They mock it, they call it the alphabet people. I've heard multiple times. But I think people are threatened by the strength of this community and that we're not going anywhere. With that being said, there's also discrimination within the LGBTQIA+ community. Like I said, I did not know a lot. I still do not know a lot, but a lot of this discrimination within our community comes from ignorance and just not knowing about all the different kinds of experiences and people who are a part of this community. While it is a super supportive and loving group, there's also room to grow, just like in every other social justice movement. Next thing I learned is that homophobia is ingrained in us from a very young age. It's my humble opinion, if you will not be able to love your child if they're gay or transgender or bisexual or whatever, I don't think you should be having children. And this debate that, oh, you're gonna convert our kids to be gay. Nobody wants to be gay. I'm sorry, like, nobody picks that. Nobody wants to be discriminated against, oppressed, made fun of, catcalled, or harassed, or whatever. Nobody wants that. Just like you don't pick to be straight, gay people don't choose to be gay. You have to follow how you feel. And if so many millions of people feel this way, how would we all be making it up? I just don't understand the logic. I think it's just fear of the unknown. Frankly, just fear of something that's not white and cisgender and straight and the nuclear family. And it's like, seriously, it's been 70 years and we're still holding on to this one size, one shape, one appearance is correct. And that's so far from the reality nowadays. Another thing I've learned, it is much easier to explore your sexuality in college. I mentioned previously how being a girl in high school is very trying. College is very different. Everybody, at least where I go to college, 99% of people are very accepting, they're very woke, and they're very open to new ideas. They're not judgmental because educated people, they don't fear diversity, they don't fear people who aren't exactly like them. We welcome it and we want to learn from other people. That's what I've seen at college, and it's just a way better place than conservative Orange County, in my opinion. Another harsh reality. Complacency is not synonymous with alliance. Just because somebody doesn't say anything homophobic, that doesn't mean that they are an ally. It doesn't mean that they will stand up and defend you. It does not mean that you are safe being yourself around them. While this does suck, it's just a reality. And just because somebody claims that, oh, like, I'm okay with it, I just believe differently. If you believe differently, then you're not okay with it. Because you can't believe someone's identity isn't valid. And you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else, spreading a false narrative that you are an ally when you're not. So if you're somebody who believes that only men and women should be married and transgender people don't exist and all this nonsense, you are homophobic. You're not an ally, and do not pretend to be, because LGBTQIA plus people rely on allies. I think you get the point. Don't pretend to be an ally if you're not. Point blank, period. I am able to have the most emotionally fulfilling relationship with girls, specifically my girlfriend. I am so much better understood physically, emotionally. I feel so acknowledged and validated, and it is so cool to be in love with somebody who just gets it. And I think that's something really cool that only gay people experience. Gay relationships, there are no gender roles. Both people clean, both people cook, both people wear the pants. There's no man in the relationship because we're both women. That's the point. We get to create our own dynamic, and it's very beautiful, and I think straight couples would benefit from it a lot, honestly, because women would not bear the burden of all the household labor and raising the children. I would say men today are a lot better than in the 1950s, for sure, but there are still a lot of cultures and a lot of people who believe a woman's place is in the home and a man's place is working and drinking and hanging out with his friends and doing what he wants. So in a gay relationship, that doesn't exist, and it never has, and it's beautiful. So going along with dating somebody of the same gender, we understand each other's bodies so well. Ooh, another perk of dating a girl is when I'm hanging out with all my girlfriends, because I don't have guy friends, it is so easy to have my girlfriend around because my friends are friends with her and she is relatable to them, and it's not intimidating or weird for her to be around a group of 3 or 4 girls. And it's so nice because she can sleep over and do whatever, and they're not uncomfortable, and we're all just having a good time. When I'm not in public, I forget that we're different. I forget that we face all these different struggles because I'm just so comfortable and I'm so myself and I'm so in love with her, and it's just nice to forget that you're different. And I think that's what truly confirmed it for me, that I'm supposed to be with girls and I do have an attraction and love for women. I just really want to reiterate this, that once you find who you are, you can be so comfortable and so happy finally after repressing it and trying to fit in. It's so worth it to be with somebody who truly fulfills you. It makes you happy and makes you forget about everything in the world. And this might just be Audrey, but it's pretty damn cool. This next one's pretty funny. These were things I learned pretty quick, but I think last year I had acrylic nails for 90% of the year. Since being gay, I have not had acrylic nails. Also, the word lesbian, I don't think it's a thing. I am convinced, I have a theory, that no gay woman calls herself a lesbian. Totally correct me if I'm wrong. We just say gay. It's so much easier, it's so much like more casual and less like lesbian. I like to use the word gay, and in my last video a year ago I say the word lesbian and it makes me cringe every single time. Okay, last point. I can't believe I made it. Being gay is not your entire identity. A lot of people, I have totally been guilty of this. Anytime I've had a gay friend, I will introduce them and say, oh, this is my friend Mary, she's gay. By doing that, I boil their entire personality down to just being gay. And that is something that I have really learned and really had to change about myself, because gay people are so much more than their identities. A lot of people are very active and passionate about their identities, and they're passionate about progress and educating people, but they're still more than their identity. They're just a person. And I urge you guys to remember that, and to, if you are like exploring parts of your identity and you find that you are a part of this community, just remember that you're still you. Just like you tell your families when you come out, I'm still me, mom, I'm still me, dad. Tell yourself that you're still you, and so many other things are more interesting about you than who you choose to love. And it's still really cool and I'm super proud of it, but just don't let it bury everything else about you. So I am Emma. I make YouTube videos. I would love to be a doctor one day. I go to UC Davis. I have great friends, great family, and I happen to be gay. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it if you watched all the way to the end. I know this is gonna be super long. I would also like to end this video saying, please register to vote. Please vote in November. Please vote in June if you have primaries right now. Please just go out and vote. Use your voice, exercise your rights, and elect people that you want to see in office who will stand up for people who look like you, identify as you. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you thought. DM me anytime if you want to talk about anything. I'd love to hear from you guys. And subscribe for more videos. I will see you guys next time. I love you so much. Bye.